Okay, so we are continuing with our study. Now that we have looked at functions in general, we have looked at the domain of functions, let's discuss functions in the business circles. There are several functions that are important, and the first two are very much related. The first one is the demand function, d of x. For the commodity, this is the price, P, equal to d of x that must be charged for each unit of the commodity if x units are to be sold or demanded. The supply function, S of x, for the commodity is the unit price, P equal to S of x, at which the producers are willing to supply x units to the market. The revenue R of x obtained from selling x units of the commodity is given by the product R equal to the number of items sold multiplied by the price per item. I think I need to explain the first two. The first two are price functions, clearly. Now, even though they are both price functions, they are actually different in the sense that this is the price in the mind of the consumer, and this is the price in the mind of the seller, because we all don't have the same desire. Any person who is buying would be happy to buy the same product for a lower price, but the supplier will be happy to sell the same product for a higher price. That's why we have what is called a supply function for the supplier and a demand function for those who are the consumers. You will notice or learn more about this in section 1.4. About the revenue, we know that revenue is total money collected. Sometimes it is called income, and sometimes there is another way of saying it. But what we are talking about here is simple like this. The number of items you sell times the price for each item. That's all. We are collecting how many items we sold multiplied by the price we paid for each of the items. Usually, we would often represent the number of items we sell by X, usually, but not always. And the price, as you can see from above, is small p. So this is the formula for revenue. The cost function is often given to you, but it is the cost of producing X units. The profit function, on the other hand, is often requires that you find it for yourself. What is it going to be? Profit is the total amount of money that you remain with. In other words, if you sell so many items and you get a revenue, and the cost of making those items is the cost is given there, then the profit is revenue minus cost. Profit is total money you collect minus total money you spend. And these are the functional forms of that same idea. In addition, as we mentioned in our preamble to this topic, we say that you may be expected to know average functions, average cost, average revenue, and average profit. They are all related in the sense that we say that the average cost is the total cost of making X units, which is C of X, divided by the total number of units made. The average revenue is total revenue of making and selling X units divided by the total number of units X, while average profit is total profit of making and selling X units as well as divided by the total number of units. In some instances, we'll have to do these particular exercises. Continuing, we want to apply this information. Market research indicates that consumers will buy X thousand units of a particular kind of coffee maker when the unit price is given as small p in this form. The total cost of producing the X thousand units is given as C of X. I will prefer to highlight important issues here. So they will buy X thousand units of a particular coffee maker for a particular price, which is given here. The cost of producing X thousand unit is given by C of X in this sense. Now, the first part is what we will focus on, and A and C are what we'll focus on, and we'll deal with part B in another video. First of all, what are the revenue and profit functions? In order to answer this question, you ought to find a formula that you need to use. So when we talk about revenue, never forget until the end of this course, revenue is the number of units that you are going to make multiplied by the price that you will sell them at. Okay, so the units are given as X. So our revenue function is R of X The units are given as X, and the profit is given as small p of X. Okay, obviously we want to know what this is exactly. So what we're going to do is let's copy. P of X is negative 0.27X plus 51. There. So as a result, what are we saying here? R of X, if you so choose to open the bracket, is negative 0.27 X, because we multiply each of them, squared plus 51X plus 51X. Okay, that is the revenue. What about the profit? We also want to find the profit. So for the profit, if you remember, we said profit is equal to, what is it? Revenue minus cost. Revenue minus cost. Okay, so our profit depends on X because all our functions depend on X. Our revenue is negative 0.27 X squared plus 51 X negative minus, what was the cost? Cost is 2.23X squared plus 35X plus 85. Okay, deliberately I've left out something important here, which is the brackets, because I want to emphasize if you do not put the brackets, you will not get the correct answer, which then means that our profit function for making X units is going to be given as, so we are going to combine like terms. This is X squared and X squared. I'm sure you can follow up on that, which is now negative 2.5X squared plus 51 minus 3.5, which is going to be plus 47.5. X minus 85. So this is the total profit of making X units. We found total profit here, and we have found total revenue here. All right, as I said before, we are not going to do the part B, we are going to do part C only. Okay. Part C then asks us, what is the average cost of producing 4,000 coffee makers? What is the average cost of producing 4,000 coffee makers? Now, I'm going to ask you to remember, once again, that what the average cost is. According to our definition, we said average cost of making X units is going to be given as total cost of making X units divided by the number of units, which is X. We remember that our cost function is 2.23 X squared plus 3.5 X plus 85. And we are dividing this by X. So if you want to simplify, you can, but at this present moment, we are not really interested in doing that. So our objective in this exercise, part C, is to find average cost of making 4,000 coffee makers. Now, what is important here? Why am I emphasizing this? I want you to know what is the X. You need to know what is X. I will just tell you that X is not 4,000, but it is 4. Now, why is that the case? Let's go back to the exercise. It says that market research indicates that consumers will buy X thousand. So if we've got 4,000, how many thousands do we have? We have got 4, which is X thousand, 4,000. So our X is 4. So we'll just substitute into our expression as follows. So our average cost function at X units is going to be 2.23 times 4 squared plus 3.5 times 4, plus 85, all divided by 4. All divided by 4. And naturally, you can find the answer to that. Please use your calculator to obtain that result. Thank you very much. This is the end of this slide.